This video is designed to get you ready for the first day of class in fall 2020. And one of the first things you want to do is decide if you're using Microsoft Teams or Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. If you already know Ultra, you can continue to use it. And if you are using Ultra, many of the instructions below, however, will not apply to you because this is a training really about how to use Microsoft Teams. So one of the first things you want to do is click to update Teams. You click on your profile icon and select check for updates. And that will make sure that you have the most recent version of Teams installed. And you might eventually have to click to sign out and then log back in after the updates are done. So what we're interested in doing next is creating a Teams team just for our class. But we don't do that here. What we do is we go to our Canvas course and we scroll down to select Microsoft Teams Early Access. And what will happen is eventually a window will load and a couple of different windows we need to click through to enable this to happen. You should know that the Microsoft server might be overloaded. This spinning wheel icon might be there for a very long time. In fact, we have actually heard that this can take several hours. So after you've been through the final screen, you will then be back in Microsoft Teams, and then you will go into your correct team that was created. And you will need to click a button at the top to activate the team. It's very similar to what we would do for publishing a course within Canvas. So now that you've got your class team, you select this pull-down menu for Meet, and you're going to go ahead and schedule a meeting. So your meeting is going to be for, say it's 11 o'clock a.m. until 12:15, 12:30. Go ahead and give it the name of the Bio 1 class or whatever it's going to be. And then we are going to select the repeat button and select custom. So instead of once a day, we're going to say it's happening once a week, but it's actually not once a week, it's Tuesday and Thursday. And an end date will be sometime in December. So I'm just going to be lazy and select August right now, and then we would click Save. Now, you don't need to add the required students. That would be all automatic. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, but you would go ahead and finish the creation of the meeting. Once the meeting is created, you switch to the Calendar tab and in Teams, and you would find the button here where it says that this is the meeting. You double click it, and you scroll down, and this here where it says Join Microsoft Teams Meeting is where I'm going to want to right-click it and select Copy Link. So this is a meeting link that I want to put into my Canvas course. I want to make absolutely certain my students have access to this from within Canvas. So I'll just show you by pasting it here. It's an ugly long link. You can just paste the whole ugly long link in Canvas if you want, or if you know how to hide that behind words within Canvas, that's fine too. But you really need to make sure that the students have access to it in Canvas. Okay. Then when you're done with that, go ahead and click on the calendar link again. Go back into your meeting by double-clicking, and you're going to want to select on Meeting Options here near the top. Now what this is going to load is a different website basically of who can do what when they come to the meeting. And by default, everyone can present, meaning that the students can mute me, they can override my presentation. If we don't want that, we switch this to say only me can present at this meeting, and then select Save. And that will present any accidental hijacking of students from my content. All right, let's go ahead and switch over to the Atlee website under the Teaching link. We will see things that are optimized for the faculty members and several things that are optimized for students. These are student-facing guides we've created. As you can see, it's best practices, it's how to use Teams, it's the etiquette of Teams, it's the study skills. Everything except the video on using Teams is actually contained here within one download zip file that you can just download and put into your own Canvas class. It's another thing we think you should do before the semester begins. One other thing you should do before the semester begins is visit your physical classroom. And there you're going to want to look for a schematic that was created by the facilities department. And this schematic will show where the students are allowed to sit. Those are little black dots all over the diagram here. And one of the other things you're going to want to look for is the capacity down here at the bottom. So originally the room had a capacity of 47. Now it's just got a capacity of 12. So if you're in a position where you need to make a rotation plan for your students, this will give you some real data. Now, while you're here, go ahead and go to the console computer and try out some of those controls. You might even want to make a test meeting in Teams with a colleague so that you have the ability to practice some of the settings we're going to talk about in the next couple of minutes. You don't want the first day of class to be the first time you're actually exploring these settings. So let's talk about the first day of class. When you get there, you're going to want to locate the cleaning supplies. These are hand sanitizer spray bottles, and you're going to want to wipe down your area, then make it available for students to wipe down their area as well. Then you log into the console computer, and new this term, you don't just use your NetID, you have to use your entire email address to log in. Then you're going to want to wake up the Crestron, that's the little screen next to the big computer, just by touching it, or if it's already on, verify that the PC is selected. And if Microsoft Teams doesn't automatically load, you're going to want to load Microsoft Teams at this point, and then you're going to want to switch to the calendar icon and locate the meeting for today. Left click to highlight it if you need to, and then otherwise click the join button. Now I've already done that, so I'm already part of the meeting now. Once you're in the meeting, the very first thing you need to do is click the triple dots here and click to see the device settings. There are several things here that are actually a little bit confusing. The speaker might be the headphones, which doesn't help you in a classroom. You're going to want to pull that down and select Crestron. Now, I'm recording this from home, not from the classroom, so I don't see Crestron, but the speaker being Crestron would be what you want. That's the room speakers. The microphone would be the microphone, probably also Crestron, so that the room is capturing everyone's voices, yours and the students. If it happens to say Elmo, that means the document camera, you don't want the microphone set on that. And you might not want the camera set on Elmo either. You probably want the camera set on HDMI or USB or whatever the webcam for the room is named. So you're going to want to look for that when you first get in the room and make sure that the settings are configured the way that you want. Now, when you get into the room and as the class begins, you need to be mindful of the two audiences. Each audience needs its own video stream settings. So the face-to-face audience, well, they're looking for the Crestron, where you switch this to say document camera or PC, but the online audience is looking for you to switch it either to say Elmo in the camera or to use the sharing icon here to share your entire screen. So the important thing here is to point out that people need to be thinking about, or you need to be thinking about how to configure the video stream for every single audience. Now, when you first get here and everyone is kind of in more of the gallery mode here, the students will see you as one small person among several other tiles. And what they don't know is that they can right-click on you and select Pin, P-I-N, and this will be something each student has to do. You can't do it for the whole class. You have to tell the students, each one of you right-click on my little video and select Pin, and then it will be expanded. It'll be a big version of me on their home screen. The other thing the students can do, and this is individual, is they can go to the triple dots and turn on live captions. Now, if they've got the live captions turned on, then they're going to see my words typed out at the bottom of the screen. And this is something that is helpful for students who are English language learners. But again, it's not something I configure for the whole class. They have to do that themselves. Okay, you're going to want to remind students that if they just join the class via a link that you posted in the Canvas course, and they're just using the browser to join Teams, that's not going to work. It's just going to show them a really limited version of Teams. They need to actually download the Teams software onto their computer. And they can Google USF Microsoft Teams download, but they come to a website where they're able to download Microsoft Teams for their computer. They need to do the same thing for their smartphone if you're going to be asking them to use Teams and join breakout groups and those sorts of things from within the class. So they really need to do the downloads themselves to make it a true experience. All right, let's now talk about how to teach using Teams. So rather than show you this, I've captured a picture of this. We come up here to the share screen and open up the sharing menu. And you have several different options. We don't recommend the whiteboard, probably more like the Elmo or DocCam for that. You could share the PowerPoint, you could share the desktop. What you mostly need to do if you're going to be sharing a PowerPoint is click on the Browse button. That will let you upload, basically, the PowerPoint you want today, and it will load an interface where you can see the PowerPoint in most of your screen, but you can also see the student chat, you can see the hands raised and all of that, and it's all on one screen. It's all quite convenient, using that Browse button to do it. The only downside is if you were to stop sharing that and switch to show your whole desktop or whatever, you've got to click through the whole browse process again, start from item number one, screen number one, if you go back to the browse item. So that's ideal if you're just using PowerPoint. The other thing to say while I'm on the screen is if you're going to share PowerPoint, share a desktop, if you're going to show them a movie, something with video and audio, they will not hear it unless you have clicked to include system audio. That is normally turned off. And I'm sad to say, but that is not an option in the Mac version of Teams. This button just simply isn't here. There is no way to share the computer audio if you're using a Mac. And again, remember that if you are actually sharing the screen not as PowerPoint, but as the Elmo, but as the document camera, you do that under Camera here, not under the sharing screen. Okay? Now, to introduce activity and group work, what we recommend is that you go back to your class team and you click on these triple dots here and you can add a channel. So I'm going to type a channel name called Group 3. You can kind of see on the background I've created Group 1 and 2 already. And I'm going to select either public or private. Private would mean I'm adding students manually. It's probably just as simple to select public and then just tell the students on a Canvas web page, you 6 students belong to Group 1, you 6 students belong to Group 2, and then just trust them to go to the right place. When they're in a group, when they're inside of these channels of a team, they can go to Meet and click to Meet Now, and that would create a sub-meeting. That would basically pause the main meeting that you're in, and they'd be able to interact with their fellow students using text or just speaking out loud or turning on their video and those sorts of things. So it's real true group work. The only downside to it is it's not super obvious how you get their attention again. They're inside these little channels. You either want to tell them ahead of time, like, hey, only stay there until 2:10 or whatever the time of day would be, or the faculty member would have to jump into each one of these groups, type something like, return to the main screen, and then everyone goes back to the main meeting at that point, and the class can continue from there. Last thing I want to show you, if you want to record the meetings, you go to these triple dots here at the top and click Start Recording. Now, that will record for 4 hours unless you come back here, triple dots, and stop recording. But either way, when you're done, it'll show up in the conversation. Everyone will get a link that says that here's the link to view the recording, and that might be all that you need. So if you want the students to see the recordings. If you're the faculty member who would rather the students not see the recordings, but you want to have it so that if there's one student who missed it because they're in the hospital or something, what you could do is do the whole process of recording it, click to follow that link once it's there, and then download the video from Microsoft Stream, and then delete the video in Microsoft Stream so that the students can't access it anymore. There's a link here, but it doesn't go anywhere. And from there, you can just deploy it to the student who missed the class via Kaltura or via YouTube or whatever method you would like. So that is the main stuff we wanted to show you out of Microsoft Teams. We hope that if you've got any questions, you would contact Atlee somehow. And the main way to do that is to just email atlee@usf.edu. We know there's going to be a lot of challenges this semester, and we want to be there for you. So don't hesitate to contact us. We are there to help you. Good luck.